everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. Yeah. Patrick Fahey, how you doing, buddy? I answered your question there. You guys scroll down on the comments. Patrick Kingery, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. E-Stacks Fishing, right on. Jeremy Macbeth. Yeah, man, we are maniacs. You better believe it. Fishing maniacs, bass maniacs, whatever maniacs. You better believe it. Yeah, Lane Graves, what's up, man? Chris Bettinger, Tim McSee. Yeah, baby, all right. Michael Bradley's in the house. Oh. Right on, buddy. What's up there? Good evening. Jay Sandberg, how you doing, man? LP Bass. Yes, sir. Catch some big ones. That's right. Let's go, TP. E-Stacks Fishing. Yeah, don't sleep on the Ozuri 3D popper. All right. Like it. Mike Hayer. Conway. Yeah, baby. Joseph Cascarino. Kenny Hodgins. Ed Ranowski. Man, we got everybody in the house. Jeff Santangelo. David Schottemeyer. Man, we got the OGs in the house, and I love it. I love it. I love it. That's right. Man, oh, man. Good to see everybody. Crappy Kev's here. Jason Ortiz. How you doing, Keith? Howard, what's up, buddy? I hope you like your rod, man. That's a beauty. Shane McNaughton. Yeah, send it, baby. Mark, how are you doing, man? Jim Saban's here. Johnny Kopp. Jason Roeder. Man, they got a ton of guys here. Jerry Kreiser. Gio Valentine. How you doing, man? Greg Anderson. Man, I tell you, that's awesome to see everybody. All the OGs here. Plus some new guys, man. Really good to see everybody stopping in here, Tackle Shop Live. We come at you live every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and we freaking love it. How about it, Nickster?
There's nothing else we'd rather do.
That's right. Cameraman Nick's in the house. And, man, as always, we are here to talk tackle. We're here to talk fishing, and we're here to talk whatever. Fishing, bass, related stuff, man. We're into it all. We do. We never do know. Nick.
Yeah.
The USA Bassin is down in South Africa right now.
That's exciting.
Have you been following that at all?
I mean, I've seen that they were preparing for the tournament. They had all kinds of social media.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the outcome is.
Well, I mean, you know, it's 3 or 4 days of competition. I don't know what the exact days are, but they did start today. And the captain of the team is I mean, come on, Kevin Van Dam is the captain. And who else is there? Our boy
Wheeler?
Jacob Wheeler, and
I seen Scott Martin.
Yeah, who's the guy who won the $1 million too? Scott Martin's there.
Oh,
not Tucker, but yeah, we were supposed to have Tucker on tonight, but Tucker got caught up in some stuff and he couldn't make it. So we apologize for that, and we're going to get him on another date. But he was really apologetic about it. Just couldn't work it out. So last minute cancel. But you know, we'll get him, and we'll figure out all this stuff with him. And I'd love to have him on the show. He's just a great guy. But anyway, this USA Bassin got a great team down there. And they are right now, they're in second place behind Italy. I don't know how they weigh, but I think they take the biggest bag or the biggest 5 fish or whatever out of the team or whatever, I think is what they do. And Italy has 25 something, and right behind them is United States with 20 something.
Okay.
So they're still in the hunt. I think I got 3 days, to do it. And I know all the stuff I've read, they're serious about this, bringing home the gold. They're serious about this event, and they're not taking it very lightly at all. But what a great venue down there, man. It's springtime for South Africa. So it's, they're fishing pre-spawn fish. They're a little stingy. I know the bite's a little off. It's a little stingy, but they are hooking some nice fish, and there's some big fish to be caught. So big things can change pretty quickly.
It's pretty cool that, I never even knew Brazil had bass, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Not Brazil, South Africa.
South Africa. I didn't know.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's big fishing down there.
Yeah.
Big time fishing down there. And, Italy is big time Bassin crowd, man. So they're like big into it. Big into it. So I think there's 14 nations down there fishing this thing. So it's a big deal, and we're going to watch it closely. Scott Martin's been an advocate of it for a long years. So he's there on the team. Yes, I wish I had all the names. There's just some great names down there.
I just think that, Kevin Van Dam's like the coach or something like that.
Yeah.
He needs, take the coach jacket off
and jump in
there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know how that whole thing works out and how they do the thing, but as far as weighing the fish and what fish count and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's just a big bag of the teams or what. I have to find out about that, but wow, what a great team. What a dream team down there. They're going to eke it out. I'm sure they'll come back strong. They got day one in second place right behind Italy. So very, very cool.
Well, what's cool about that, Mike, is, that multiple day of tournaments.
Yeah.
You can't win it in one day.
Right.
But you could lose it in one day. So they're in a good spot right there.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, let's see, I had something on here. Yeah, so Italy is I don't understand these penalties, but anyway.
Yeah, I know, I've seen that.
25.64, and USA is 20.47, and then Australia goes to 19 pounds, and then Germany, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Canada. I'm gonna screw this one up. Eswatini, Portugal, Spain, Mexico, Mozambique, Croatia, and Serbia. So that's your teams, and they're all doing well and they're catching fish. So what a cool event, and we're gonna file that, track it for the rest of the week, and we'll report on that next week on how they end up and how they do. But you guys can watch it, not watch it live, but you can follow it on the Facebook page. They keep you up to date of what's going on. So pretty cool deal there. Man, we're getting close, Nick. This is the 4th of September. And on the 20th of September, we have our the Susquehanna River Classic Kayak Tournament put on by Susquehanna Fish and Tackle. And our great sponsors, 13 Fishing and New Holland Auto Group. So it's going to be a great event. New Holland Auto Group came aboard. They're going to sponsor our registration night. We're going to have a great time here. We're going to have food, and we're going to have, whatever. We're going to have a bunch of different stuff, bunch of giveaways. We're going to do some door prizes and take care of all the registration stuff that goes along with that. So good time to be had here to shop. We're going to start that at 4:00, and the captain's meeting is at 6. So we'll get everybody situated and figured out. And then the big kickoff for the tournament is Saturday morning, 6:30 lines in, 6:00 launch. Man, I'm telling you, Susquehanna River then is going to be freaking happening. It's going to be giant fish. It's going to be putting out. It's going to be showing up big time because the river's been super low and it's been getting zero pressure. Nobody's out running around. There's very few people able to get around on it. So a lot of the water's been undisturbed for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I'm looking for some kind of crazy giant bags coming in, and it's going to be really, really cool to do. So we are filling up quick. Was a few spots left. So you need to get on there and you need to register right now. If you guys were on the fence about it, you need to do it right now. The registration is $150 for the entry fee, but 13 Fishing, who's our top tier sponsor, is giving away a free Oath fishing rod from 13 Fishing. So what a great way to have a tournament. You're going to get $100 rod for your $150 entry fee. So essentially everybody's going to win that rod. It's a great deal. It's something we like to do. And it's something that we are really big on, giving away something for your entry fee. And it worked out great. And we have some great comments and great sponsors and stuff. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be a really cool deal to have them going. So anyway, check that out. You can go onto our website. You can click on to the tournament header, and that'll take you and put you right on Tourney X, and you can register through Tourney X, and you get all the details there. Very excited about it. 150 boats, $10,000 for first place. We're paying out over $18,000 overall, and we are super excited about it.
And Mike, I'm thinking, just like when we do SummerSlam, are we going to make somebody famous the next Thursday?
Absolutely. The winner, definitely has to come to on our show. And so we're definitely going to have them on, talk about the tournament, talk about how you did it, what made you the champion of the first ever Susquehanna River Classic. And for 2025, we're really excited about that. So we'll get you on here, and then, man, it's the way we roll, Nick. You know that.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. So for all you guys, drop it in. My name is Mike Acord. This is George Acord. Behind the camera is Cameraman Nick. This is Tackle Shop Live. And like I said earlier, we come at you every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and we love to talk fishing. And we are going to jump right into it because this is Thursday night, the first day of NFL kickoff football. So George said we have to be out of here by 8:30 minimum. Maximum.
I mean, I'm not lying to you. One of my many talents in this world is multitasking.
Yeah.
So right now I've got three things going on. I've got tackle talk, I've got pregame, and for my boy Nick here, I've got the following. Mike, will you join me?
No.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Cameraman Nick. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, the Wingster.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Birthday.
Did you ever hear the second verse?
Well, I'll tell you what, George. You guys do
we don't do the second verse.
You guys do a pretty damn good job.
Well, we're not bad at it. If this
Yeah.
wasn't PG-13, we'd sing the second verse for you.
You guys did a hell of a job.
I thought George was going to sing the Eagles song instead.
You didn't want to hear
I'm not joining in on that one.
Little credit where it's due.
Happy birthday, Nick.
I appreciate it, guys.
Man, oh man, what are you, like 22?
I'll be 42 tomorrow.
42?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
Man, he don't look like that, does he?
We passed that a long time ago.
He looks like still a young pup. Yeah. Renshaw, how are you doing, man? You're just in time for the best part of our show. We like to call this Tackle Talk. Yeah. We are a tackle shop, and we love tackle. We love playing with tackle, and we love to talk about tackle. George, what's going on in the world of fishing tackle today?
Well, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. First of all, you got to look at the season, okay?
Yeah.
September for me, and I know as well for many people in the country, I'm getting up, as we spoke last week, I'm getting up in the dirt. I'm going shallow. I'm going to see how well my trolling motor batteries work.
Well, your props, you're going to be like, we got to have a case of props in the boat?
Well, I got my
piece of wood.
I got my 2x2.
Yeah.
I got my 2x2. I don't break a lot of props. I average probably one prop every 4 years. Now, I did get that whole average in this year. But that's a story for another day, perhaps around a campfire or a bonfire or something.
Right.
But yeah, I want to go shallow, and I want to have a lot of rods on the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, as I said, test my batteries and my trolling motor. And what I really like to do, really like to do, is throw a buzzbait and a plopper. And it's very interesting because the first item I have for Tackle Talk tonight is a new buzzbait. Just when you thought,
Yeah.
I know you were sitting there thinking, you, particularly you, were sitting there thinking, there can't be another buzzbait. I mean, there's a million buzzbaits. Well, there's probably not a million, but there's thousands.
There's a bunch of them.
So we're looking for some interesting stuff here. So what we have for you is the Megabass Jamaica Boa Junior Super Metal. Now, I'm not sure what the Super Metal's for, perhaps to make it sound exotic. But we love Megabass. We love their over-the-top attention to detail. Okay? That's what we love about Megabass. They go over the top. Their attention to detail. Their pro staff is the who's who of bass fishing. I mean, Brandon Polnick's on their pro staff, for God's sakes. And the whole thing, not just U.S., international pro staff. And they tweak, and they never say no. And here's the result. So I'm going to talk about some of the features of this. First of all, I love that knocker capability. I don't know if I can do this. Subtle, but it's a little more pronounced than an untuned buzzbait. You got a little bit of a subtle squeal. You've got a brass knocker right on the arm. You've got a drilled blade, one of the features of the Jamaica Boa series. There's a full size. This one's 3/8 of an ounce, okay? The full size is a half.
Mm-hmm.
This has a tighter profile to it. But these drilled blades will accentuate your bubble trail. And the great Marty Stone said, any day that your buzzbait's leaving a bubble trail, that's a primo buzzbait day. He had it tied into the barometer. I mean, the guy was great. The other thing that I like, guys, and this is, I don't like to run trailers on my buzzbaits, but I love that skirt style, that trailer style skirt. And that skirting is a wide cut, 4 strands of wide cut silicone, contrasting color. I love that. Nice quality hook, round bend. I love that. I love the planing style head. Now, every buzzbait out there has a planing style head. I've seen bullet shaped buzzbaits that advertise their planing style head. All right. Well, I'm just going to tell you that is what a planing style head looks like. It has a keel. It has flat surface that'll create lift when it's going forward. Kind of reminds me of a boat.
Mm-hmm.
So look at that. We got 3/8 of an ounce. Yeah,
Beautiful. They're just beautiful.
$15.99. And I'm going to tell you, that's not at all expensive.
No.
Because you don't often lose a buzzbait.
Right.
You don't often break a buzzbait. These have a more durable wire on them than a spinnerbait.
Yep.
Now, as with most buzzbaits, this one comes out of the pack with the rivet loose. Okay. Now, Mike and I differ on this. He prefers to have his rivet uncrimped. I personally will not fish a buzzbait that the rivet's not crimped on, because when I crimp it, which I'm going to show you later, I get more squeal out of that blade because this is not moving. This is stationary, and I get a better wear on there. And then I have the ability to knock that. Hang on.
Good sound. It's a good sound.
This is sweet. Okay. We have a bunch of colors. White, black, obviously, green pumpkin, killer bluegill. There's pink, there's chartreuses. Good stuff. Check them out. sfttackle.com. Just search.
They're on there. Front page.
Yeah. You don't even have to search.
Yeah, under the new products list.
But if you backlash your computer, just search Jamaica
or
boa. Because some people do backlash their computer.
Oh yeah, we backlashed one here today, didn't we, Nick? We didn't think we were going to have a show.
That's right.
Nick,
yep.
How do you feel about buzzbait fishing?
I love buzzbait fishing.
You throw one a fair amount of time?
I do. Yeah, I like the buzzbait. I think it's one of the funnest, bites that there is.
It's great.
Really. And it's so versatile because you can bring it through.
It's true power fishing.
No, you can't bring it through thick slop, but you can work it through some pretty thick stuff.
Oh yeah. It's a true power bait fishing technique, where you're power fishing. And that's just anytime you're power fishing, it's fun.
And like you say, you guys always you guys have a knack for something I can't do. You guys throw like the poppers and stuff like that. Man, a buzzbait is perfect for me because I like to just move.
Yeah.
And that's what it does.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it sure does.
How about you, Mike? I know you and I fish together a lot, so I kind of know the answer to the question before I asked it, which is how I ask most questions.
I just think it's bait that, you throw all the time. You see if the fish are reacting to it, and it's easy. You don't have to think about it. What I like about buzzbait fishing is I spend a lot more time looking at my targets ahead of the me fishing, and I can make multiple casts on certain stuff, and cover a lot of water with it, and it just allows you to just go down the bank, go down the grass line, go down the whatever, and just knock that water out. And so if they do bite it, it's so much fun. I mean, if they get on a buzzbait, you're going to get, if it's a buzzbait bite, you're going to get multiple bites in a day, and I'll tell you, the biggest problem that a lot of people do is they put it down once the sun pops up.
That's when it gets good.
And there's a lot of times where in the middle of the day, you'll have a buzzbait bite that's extraordinary. Everything aligns, the bait gets put together, pushed together, whatever.
Shade line.
And shade lines come, whatever it is. And the buzzbait just outperforms. And, hey, if I'm power fishing, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. And if you can catch them on top water, I'm happy. And I really, really enjoy. And, another nice thing is it's very weed, like Nick says, it's very weedless. It's very good to come through the cover. It doesn't hang up real bad at all. You can even through wood and stuff, you can throw it right up in the bushes and comes right out.
I do want to ask you guys a question about that, though. You guys fish a fair amount of time together. And I know that some of the latest tournaments you guys fished, one of you are at least throwing a buzzbait to start the morning.
Mm-hmm.
What is the other angler throwing while you're moving water with the buzzbait? You both throwing a buzzbait?
Well, I mean, I would be the other angler.
Right.
Mike's like, he's so crazy about his buzzbait that, it'd be like taking a bone away from a puppy dog, I mean,
and heaven forbid he probably gets a bite. Then he's not putting it down the rest of the day.
So in a team tournament situation like that, which is, by the way, a great question. So, and it's multifaceted. First of all, in a team tournament, you load the boat in the morning. You make sure you have your net, which we forget a lot.
Yeah.
You make sure you have, all your safety equipment, the Mustang, hydrostatic vests, lots of water, fuel, oil, all that stuff. No snacks because there's just no time for that. But I will tell you the one thing that you leave in the truck, and that is the egos.
Yeah.
Because if you got the buzzbait going, then if you're helping to win the tournament, you are considered the backup man, which is not necessarily a demeaning position because you're going to have blow-ups that are missed. You need to be ready with what I like to follow up with is a fluke. That's my go-to backup bait. My backup bait is a Wacky Rig Senko, obviously, but I have better conversion rate.
Oh,
He's already thinking football
on a fluke.
Oh,
Yeah, I was 3rd and 4 right there, and I needed that bad. But the fluke, and then the third thing that I do a lot of when I'm following Mike fishes a full-size buzzbait exclusively. He fishes a hog collar buzzbait with a offset blade, with a big offset blade exclusively. He doesn't fish anything else. He has 2 colors, white and black. And there are in every frickin' hatch in the boat. There's
well, you know why,
I
Nick?
I get years out of a buzzbait. My man's got enough for a lifetime.
Well, we were fishing together one time, and I caught a fish, and I threw back out, and I start reeling it in, and the thing's like acting really weird. It's not plopping right. It comes up. I burnt a hole right through the whole entire.
And your offset
blade
blades will do that. So this is an offset blade. I mean, a offset blade. I don't know. Can we see this in the package, Nick? There you go. There you go.
Jamaica bow is offset too, George.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So here's one of the things about the Jamaica bow, which I failed to disclose.
Yeah.
And
I should have.
Everyone else that's on the team here
I should have.
was watching television. So by an offset blade, what I'm referring to is the wire goes through this tab and this tab. Okay, they're on this side of the blade. So the blade is offset. It's not centered. Okay? Now, this is a non-offset blade. And the wire goes through this tab. And then there's a hole in the blade, a channel, if you will. And then it goes through this tab. Now, both tabs are bending opposite direction, obviously. So this blade is centered. Now, this happens to be my favorite of all buzzbaits. This is a Boogerman buzzbait, which has been copied by every buzzbait manufacturer that has something beyond a do-it mold. Okay? Which is best? There's a very, very good argument for this. Now, I will tell you, you will go through many, many more non-offset blades or offset blades than you will non-offset blades. Because like Mike says, you'll be buzzing along, and then all of a sudden that blade just cuts through and rides off into the sunset.
And usually, like right before that happens, you're whacking fish on it because it's perfect
Sounds
sound. Everything's perfect about it. But one of the other things about that is the offset blade, gives you that because it's offset, it's out of balance. So you're getting a little bit of different flop out of that.
It definitely flops.
Yeah, you get a flop on that blade. So that's a good thing and a bad thing because it takes a little bit more to keep it going. You got to reel a little bit faster. The center blade, what I always thought about it was I can fish it slower. It's a little bit more quieter. It's not quite as floppy on the water. But I only go to that after George starts catching them on it. Then I'll switch over to it because there's a definite sound difference, and there's time. Like I should have 2 rigged up, a center blade and a flopper on there all at the same time. But I don't do that. I go to what I have confidence in, And sometimes it just doesn't work. But when we get on a buzzbait bite and we're just catching him on that, he'll fish the other one. And, if he starts really whacking him, then I'll make that change, because it's a sound thing. But I just always found like that offset just flops a little more, a little bit louder, a little bit clappier in the water. And you get that little bit of squeal a little quicker out of it.
Well, if you tune your buzz baits properly before you use them, they start squealing properly on the first cast.
Well, I got
news for you.
You got guys like
I got news for you. Yeah. I don't fish a buzz bait that's not tuned. You'll never see me open up a pack, tie a buzz bait on, and start fishing it. I like the procedure. So the first step is I got to crimp this rivet. You can't have that rivet freewheeling like that. That's no good. So first thing you do is you're going to crimp it. And by crimp it, I mean you're going to attach it to the wire so it doesn't. So you need a side cutter, okay? You take your side cutter, you pull that rivet down against the back of the wire, and you crimp it. Now, my dad taught me years ago when you're framing a house, if one nail works good, 3 work better. So I always crimp it twice. Now, there's multiple ways to break these in. Our good friend Greg DePalma,
oh yeah,
actually has a board made. Okay, and if you go back,
we have
and search it. We have a video on it.
A whole show on it.
We have a video on this board, and this board is this long. It has 6 or 8 buzz baits on it, and they're held in place. A good friend of the shop, a good friend of the show, Don Roeder, made a presentation buzzbait tuning board just for Greg and presented it to him at Bass Fest one year. And then he clamps them all on there, and then he takes his fan, turns that sucker on high, and spins them for a day.
Yeah.
And what's happening is this wears in. And wherever this blade makes contact with the rivet and the shaft, develops that screen door hinge kind of squeal. Now, what I like to do is I like to take a file, and I usually, unless I'm going to church, I always have my file with me.
He does. He carries that thing everywhere.
I leave the file at home when I'm going to church, because it just doesn't seem right to be tuning a buzzbait in church.
Well, I mean, you're a rivetarian, so I mean.
Well, I mean, I am a rivetarian, and
yeah, you're a rivetarian, so you're at
as
church.
such, I should be able to tune buzzbaits in church.
Yes,
but other people frown upon it. So I got my file, and what I like to do is come in with this file, and obviously, anywhere I have a contact point between the blade, the rivet, and the shaft, I'm going to hasten the process by scuffing those surfaces so I can visibly see them scuffed up. So that's there. And then right here's the other one. That's a little harder to do because there's a blade in the way. So I just kind of get in there and just kind of hit one side and then turn it around and hit it a little more. And then the way I like to break them in, I don't have one of them fancy boards with all the clips and stuff on it, is I hold them out the car window. And I like to drive through like communities that have 25-mile-an-hour speed limits.
Got to watch that.
And hang out the window.
What's a disclaimer out there, man? You can burn them things up in a heartbeat doing that.
But I like to see what the people on the sidewalks are doing.
I'm telling you, it'll burn them up quick, Nick.
Turn your head, mother. I don't know what this is coming down the street. I mean, there's comments going on. And what's happening is I'm wearing that blade in. And then I like this Boogerman style buzz bait where it's going to hit the head. You can even start to heal that squeal in there. She's close. And that'll actually wear a little groove in the head of that. And once that's done,
that gets better yet.
We're tuned. Then I check my hook for sharpness. dull, I touch up the hook, and I'm either fishing it with a skirt, or a lot of times when I'm playing backup man, I fish it with, depending on our fishery, and if it's a grass fishery with a lot of largemouth and smallmouth, I like to use a Zako as my trailer. And, I just simply take the skirt off. That's going to be my keeper. Kind of line that up, figure out where I want that hook to come out, and send it on home. I keep the hook towards the top of the trailer. I'm not going all the way dead center. I rig it a little shallow. And I got to give these things credit. They're a little more durable than I gave them credit for. And I do put some super glue on there. Push that up over. Nice and straight. And I have a couple benefits here. Number one, I have a shad-like profile.
Yeah.
Number two, this thing skips incredibly. Whether I have a toad style trailer, which is something I fish a lot of, man, this thing is
good. Gosh,
this thing is
what
like,
is that?
This doesn't want to come out.
It's childproof.
That's bad.
Childproof, bro. Let me get that for you. There you go. There you go.
The toad style trailer is obviously a favorite too, and this skips incredibly well. Okay, this is a great compliment to the buzzbait. This now, if I'm on a smallmouth fishery, which by the way, folks, if you're not fishing buzzbaits on smallmouth fisheries, rivers, you're missing out on some of the best summer and September and early fall fishing that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
But I have learned that the fluke style bait, for instance, like a Zoom Super Fluke, is my favorite. So, smallmouth fishing, I typically go right to a Zoom Super Fluke in the pearl white color.
Kind of like that Zako. Good looking bait.
Now, a lot of times when I'm backing Mike up, I'll fish a 3-inch Zako on there. But this is my preferred setup. The 4-inch Zako on a 1/4 ounce buzzbait as a backup. If I'm just buzzbait fishing, I'll put a 3/8 ounce on there. And very rarely, not completely zero, but very rarely do I fish a buzzbait with a skirt on it. I mean, sometimes I do, but it's rare. I generally fish a buzzbait with either a Zako, a toad, or a fluke. And there's really no limit to what you can trail it with. I mean, swim bait works great. A Z-Man chatter shad works great. But take the time to rig it up straight. Take the time to tune your blade. Now, guys, we got to talk a little bit on this buzzbait since we kind of morphed into a little bit of a buzzbait spiel here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to finish up on our buzzbait talk, and then we're going to ease on over into the next tackle talk. And I think what we'll do is we're going to go with a complete hybrid show tonight. We're going to blend.
Whoa, that wasn't in the notes for the.
Tear the page out.
I'm telling you.
Throw it in the trash can.
Boy, oh boy.
We're freewheeling tonight.
He's going rogue. He's going rogue, Mike.
Let me
Holy
tell
hell.
you something.
It's the birthday atmosphere.
That's right.
It's the party atmosphere tonight.
I'm telling you, it's the opening kickoff of the NFL, and I'm feeling good. Cameraman Nick's birthday's tomorrow. We have a great lineup of products to talk about. We have a great Buzzbait and Plopper show for you.
And we're freewheeling.
And you know what? This thing just took a whole
We're flip-flopping.
turn.
We're flip-flopping. Look out.
We just deviated from the script. Son of a bitch, we're having fun now. But guys, and I want to ask you both, because I've seen widely differing opinion. Now, Mike's a little more free with his setups, but what is your setup for buzzbait fishing, Nick, and why?
All right.
Because there is some things here that come into play.
I like a 7 foot to 7'1" medium heavy. I like a medium heavy, but I got to tell you, as far as real 8:1 gear ratio, but I like 15-pound fluoro.
Okay.
And Greg got me onto that. And the reason why is because sometimes they short strike a buzzbait. And what we found out was with the fluorocarbon, you end up getting more a landing ratio because it stretches. So when you go to set the hook, it forgives a little bit more. Now, if you get into that, super grassy situation, you might need to go to a braid. But that's me. That's my deal.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a great breakdown. And we're not interested in what everybody else does. We're interested in what Cameraman Nick does.
Right. That's what I do. And I like it.
And you've had 41 years and 364 days of experience to hone your craft.
Yeah. I mean, and it works.
That's exactly right.
Caught some big fish doing it.
Yeah.
Great. Mike, I've seen this man work with a buzzbait. Now, this year we're off a little bit.
We're off.
But the last couple of years,
been terrible buzzbait
we
year for me.
smoked them on the buzzbait all summer long. For us, the buzzbait is a post-spawn to fall thing, and we buzz some water up.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what's your game?
Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure, like the whole setup, but it's a medium heavy rod.
Yeah, you don't have to get crazy in detail.
Yeah, it's a medium heavy rod, and I fish braid, in the grass most of the time. Fish braid in the grass, but many times I've tied it on fluorocarbon. Fished on fluorocarbon when it's a little bit more open water, not quite real thick grass or whatever. But when you're in that heavy grass, man, I think braid is, you got to have it. Especially, you got the big clumps. You're going over top, or you're kind of going around them, kind of, working your rod, going around the clumps or whatever. And you can start to hang up on a piece of grass with braid, and you can snap your rod and cut through that real quick and clean your bait off quicker. That was my thing with it, is I can clean it and get more of a cast out of it, instead of just, the stretch of fluorocarbon seems to, load the hook up, and you can't clean it off quite as quick.
It's a good tip.
Yeah. But I got no problem with, open water fishing with a fluorocarbon, on my second rod that I have laying there with another buzzbait on, or, ready to go with a different presentation. I'll have that for more of an open water, but I'd say probably 85% of the time it's braid. What do you think, George?
Yeah. And I have a slightly different take on that. I'm a braid guy by choice.
Yeah.
I usually fish like my medium heavy frog rod, which is my skipping rod, my open water frog rod. And, I keep my frog rod spool with 65-pound braid. So that's just what I usually fish on. I like fluorocarbon a lot for buzzbait fishing. But the problem with buzzbaits is when you're casting those things, especially with a head knocker, a lot of times that blade will lock up, and that buzzbait will spin like a Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown pass down the sideline long for a touchdown. And that just twists that line all to hell. It just twists it all to hell. And, it's aggravating to me after about an hour of buzzbait fishing when that line wraps up around your tip when you slack it at the side of the boat or whatever. So, I mean, that's a trivial case of why I use braid. I basically use braid for, the solid hook set, the vegetation, and the anti-twist factor. And that's why I generally choose braid. Now, Mike will tell you, a lot of times I'll pick a rod up with fluoro on it and tie a buzzbait to it. Perhaps I have a frog tied on that other rod at the moment. I don't feel like changing it, or I do a lot of toad fishing with that rod. I don't feel like changing it.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to do braid. The fluoro is fine too.
Well, the fluoro seems to work better around hardcover if you're throwing the buzzbait.
I just don't like to twist.
Yeah.
I don't like to twist, when you're casting, because when that blade locks up, that whole bait is doing this, spiraling through the air, much like a Jalen Hurts long pass.
Absolutely. Well, one of the keys that we all agreed on here is the rod, because you definitely don't want a broomstick.
No,
because then you don't have any leverage of a cast.
Yeah.
You don't want something too light, because if you are using fluoro, these things got some hooks on
They got big hooks on them.
so you can't do that.
Right.
And I like a little give in that rod. It's a medium heavy.
That's right.
It's got plenty of juice, but you get a little forgiveness in that tip.
Yeah.
That fish comes up and eats that bait. That tip kind of goes to him a little bit. The other thing is a lot of questions, especially in the store here when we're talking buzzbaits and spinner baits. A lot of questions about trailer hooks. I have a pretty cut and dried approach to that. Mike and I do. I'm sure Nick feels the same way. But if I'm fun fishing, I don't use a trailer hook. If I'm tournament fishing, I almost always use a trailer hook. And you say almost always. If I'm skipping a buzzbait into some gnarly trees, nothing pisses me off more than making the perfect skip and having a freaking trailer hook snag a branch.
Yeah.
So I will forgo the trailer hook there and just use my decades of training and Zen-like focus to allow them to eat the bait before I snatch them from their lair.
Well, get back to the twisting. When Jack Prescott throws his ball out there to that perfect pass.
CD Lamb.
The CD Lamb. That ball, it goes in such a spiral that doesn't spin the line. It's a beautiful anti-spinning effect that I get out of a cast. And so I can use some fluorocarbon.
What happens when Jordan Davis, who hates twisted fluorocarbon, just absolutely just pile drives Dak Prescott into the turf? And then, as Dak Prescott is prone to do, is injured for the next 8 weeks, and they lose the first 8 out of 8 games. What happens then?
The ball's
what?
The ball's already
Dak
in here.
Prescott should have been using braid.
All right.
Enough of this.
Enough of the analogies.
So any other buzzbait related chitter chatter there, Nick?
Yeah. I said I like a 7 foot to 7'1" rod. What were you guys with that?
I think mine's a 7.2 medium heavy.
I'm throwing a 7.2 medium heavy. I'm throwing my preferred rod suffered
horrible
a garage door fatality.
Recently.
Horrible.
No, a couple years ago. It was all Mike's fault. But it's gone. It's left. It's departed. The tip section remains as a reminder of the good times we had. And it was replaced with a 7.2 medium heavy X-Pride, which serves as many other purposes also, but in the post-spawn through fall phase, it has an 8-to-1 reel with 65 braid on it for multiple reasons: frogging, buzzbaiting, toading.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to crack the whip. You know what I mean?
You
The
have
whip
to.
to be the 65 braid.
And then I have one more thing that I think some listeners or viewers could be thinking is buzzbaits are not like any other bait. They're kind of different looking. They take up a lot of space. How are you guys storing your buzzbaits?
Well, Mike and I use a binder. So we have a binder, like a worm binder, if you will, with multiple pages in it. and we store spinnerbaits and buzzbaits in that. So we actually take a Sharpie pen and write on each page, hey, this is a 3/8 ounce. This is a 1/2 ounce. This is a 3/4 ounce for the spinnerbaits. And then the buzzbaits, they just get 1 or 2 pages. And then we also have an item, and I would encourage you to check it out on our website under TH Marine. And it is a go-to. Cook's go-to. We have it double listed. We have it listed under Cook's, who's no longer in business. TH Marine bought them. So we have it listed under Cook's and listed under TH Marine. So look up Cook's go-to. And I really like these. So you screw them on the inside of your hatch lids. Now, you got to have room in your hatch because when the lid closes, the buzzbait is hanging on this rack, right? So it's like going to hang like that, okay? So you need some space underneath here. You can't have 77 Plano boxes in a spot designed for 30, or else your buzzbait's going to land on them. And then that holds like 17 baits, I believe it is. So the reason it's called a go-to is you got your go-tos on it. So you got your, I keep them loaded up with what we are currently doing. Go-to spinnerbait, go-to swim jig, go-to chatterbait, go-to buzzbait. They come 2 in a pack. Our skeeter has 2 hatches, 1 and 1. And then in our jet boat, we have a very sophisticated storage system, which involves 3 zip ties. Now, not your average zip tie. We're going big time, something like a NASCAR team would use. And they get put on top of the handlebar, also known as the oh shit handle, on top of the console. And then you just hang them. And you can hang like 75 combination of whatever you like. So it's in essence a go-to also. And then inside that tackle hatch, there's a go-to mounted. Mm. Buzzbaits don't store nice. They just don't. And you don't, if you're fishing your skirts on them, you want them to hang dry. Spinnerbait skirts, buzzbait skirts, you want them to hang dry.
That's the thing with our binder. When we're fishing, we throw them on when we cut them off.
Yeah,
we don't put them right back in the binder. We throw them on the deck, and then when we get home, you put everything back in there when it's dry. But
the other thing you can do
that's the only problem with binders.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is you can take your line dressing and spray your skirts before they get wet, and then they won't clump up on you so bad. But there's been a change in skirting. Yeah. In the last decade, and
you don't see that as much anymore.
You don't. Mm-mm. You don't. You notice it more on frog legs. I always spray them, because line dressing is essentially silicone, odorless, and it just coats them, and they just don't stick together. So
yeah, that's a good tip.
It works well, and yeah, that's how we store them.
The other question that we get all the time is what color buzzbait do you throw?
That's a great point.
That is a great one. And you see like mostly white and black being thrown. That's like the 2 main colors.
Absolutely.
I fished with a guy one time, and he was throwing a chartreuse skirt, chartreuse blade, chartreuse. And I'm like, man, I don't think I ever thrown that buzzbait like that. He said, yeah. He said, this is my favorite buzzbait. I get a lot of bites on it, So, I guess it's what you have confidence in. It's really the sound, I think, more than anything. And there's a time where a black one's going to outfish a white one. There's a time where a white one's going to outfish a black one. There's bluegill colors. There's every kind of color in between. And I think it's a lot of personal preference at that point. I think the sound is the most important. Getting the right sound out of your buzzbait is the most important. And I think skirt or no skirt is the second most important thing, whether you go with a toad or you go with like George said, a Zoom Super Fluke or some other type of trailer. And the size, whether you're throwing a more compact buzzbait, or if you're throwing a full size buzzbait, I think that's the top 3 things that I would consider. Color, just whatever you have confidence in. There is a time and a place for certain colors, and you will get your ass kicked on the chartreuse one of these days. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. But what it is what it is.
Well, one of the aspects of buzzbait fishing that I've always tried to pay attention to is the blade color. So, and I don't really have scientific backing on this, but I can tell you this: in dingier water, and again, a lot of you guys watch this show religiously. I like to fish shallow. I love tidal water. I like a good, robust scum line on the side of my boat. Mm-hmm. No paint on the lower unit, a busted skag, and a dinged up prop. Mm-hmm. That means you're fishing right. In that situation, right here's one right out of the pack, a black blade. Now, this is like a black gunmetal blade. I actually am picky enough to say that I prefer a painted blade. So I'm going to get my favorite buzzbait for me, which is the Boogerman. I can't even begin to say enough good stuff about Boogerman buzzbaits. And I like the fact that they have a painted blade. Now, when I tune these blades, I have to be real careful to skin that paint off the back of the blade with my file, or else it takes forever. But that is going to be your either number 1 or number 2 buzzbait. Black on black. Okay. And then we already talked about white and silver. That's tied for first. So this is 1 and this is 1A, or else this is 1 and this is 1A. Now, the selection process: clearer water, sunny day; dingier water, overcast day. Starting point. But I have noticed on multiple occasions, particularly around a tremendous abundance of bait fish, and particularly late in the year, a white blade. And the way I scientifically deduce this is I get out my color selector, and Roland Martin wrote a guidebook on that. And then I linked that with my Lowrance side imaging. And then I cross-reference it with my forward-facing flow chart. And I come up with my blade color. Now, if you don't have all that, like me, then if I'm getting a ton of short strikes, like even with my trick of if you're getting a bunch of short strikes like this, take this off and put a fluke on. Even then, go to a white blade. Cloudy or sunny. That's how I roll. And then, another massively important blade color, and this can be with white or black, or anything in between, is the gold blade. You must have silver, black, and gold in your buzzbait collection. You have to have those blades. Now, Boogerman paints their blade, which I like. Okay? Because it gets a little character to it as it gets dinged up and gets even better. And I'm not sponsored by Boogerman. I'm only sponsored by Humminbird, Lowrance, Garmin, Ray Marine, Skeeter Boats, G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, Daiwa, and
now the new
I'm working on
13.
a lose program right now.
I thought you had the 13 fishing nailed down.
Well, they're tight.
They're tight.
Tight. They spent too much money on our kayak tournament. So next year I'm bringing back the full union suit so I can host all my patches. This is your copper blade. And this, if you are a tannic water fisherman, if you fish bodies of water that have tannic, they look tea colored, but they're clear, but they're not. Throw copper. So if you don't fish those kind of waters, pass up on that boy. But the boys at Booger Man do, and this is even named after their river, the Swanee River.
Yeah.
So
I bet you that's a Pasca tank killer too.
now, that's kind of like the short list. And then you can just get crazy with that. I mean, you can do bubble gum.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about color. You know, there's the whole
We don't even suppose to go there.
Yeah, there's the whole thing where, you know, it's what you have confidence in, it's what you feel like is going to work for the day. And then if you're getting certain types of bites, it's trial and error thereafter, you know, and that information will help you with that. Pretty good.
Good stuff. And I had one more tip of my own. You know, we take for granted the coordination it takes to throw a buzzbait. I mean, it's almost like a rhythm, you know. But if you're new to buzzbaits, it can take a little time to get used to that rhythm. You know, you can't sit out there. If you don't reel, it's going to sink, you know. So for some people, starting with a double prop buzzbait's not a bad way to go if you're starting out. And there's a couple different, you know, options with that too.
Well, what's really cool about the double buzzbaits, the double prop buzzbait, I brought one up here. And for me, I don't throw them enough. Okay, I'm just going to straight up tell you I don't throw them enough. But we have customers that are big time double buzzbait people, and that you're right, Nick. This thing planes instantaneously on the water. It's really easy to keep up on the water. But the big giant thing with this is how slow you can fish it. This is a real slow, real quiet, different type of bubble trail, different type of sound in the water.
Deadly.
You know, George and I we just don't throw it enough. It's a lot of people don't throw it enough.
I don't even own one.
People that throw this are
they're all in.
They just catch a different fish. I think they're catching a totally different fish that we would just never ever catch because of the sound on that. So don't overlook the double buzzbait. I mean, I keep saying I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it turns out to be a phenomenal smallmouth buzzbait. Phenomenal. Because I think the sound and the size is much smaller than you think it is. And the color, you know, the speed in which you can reel it is just a lot more tantalizing. Double buzzbaits. Do not underestimate that sucker. So you're right, Nick, about that. That thing planes out instantaneously. And there's other ones, you know, the firecracker, which if you really, you know, hear again the sound, you know, if you're fishing in really windy conditions and it's kind of rough water and you're getting up underneath the trees and there's a lot of noise, a lot of wind, a lot of whatever, put on a dinger like that, man. That sucker there, they call it the firecracker for a reason. That thing clanks, you hear that across the shop. People take this out.
That is loud.
People take it out of the package, start blowing that thing around. It's a clanker. It's from, I mean, look at that picture. The picture looks violent. Yeah, Nick. That's a violent firecracker picture right there. So, you know, sound, color, you know, offset blade, center blade, all that stuff. Very, very important in buzzbait fishing. And here again, it's one of those things where there's buzzbait fishermen and then there's buzzbait fishermen.
Well, another aspect of buzzbait fishing that I don't even think anybody even talks about is the retrieve technique.
Yeah.
And with a buzzbait, you know, you make your cast. Now, if you're skipping, you're going to be down low. But as soon as that bait gets home, you bring that rod tip up. So you're going to be up here at like 11 o'clock. And you start your retrieve. And about halfway back to your boat, you start to lower the rod until you're to the boat. So always, always, always start with that high rod position. So it's a coordinated effort. Skip it or cast it. If you're fishing bank, you're skipping it a lot. get it where you want it, start retrieving and rod tip high immediately. And everybody forms their own habits. One of the things I like to do, that bait's, because I skip most of the time, I'm thumbing the reel heavily. As soon as it gets home, I before I even click the reel, I clamp the spool. As I'm in the process of clicking the reel, I just start picking the rod up to where I want it. And it's already started buzzing. So work on your technique, you know. Don't just like shotgun cast an area. You know, force yourself, you know, take the skirt off, put on a toad or a swim bait trailer like this or a fluke, and force yourself to learn to skip. You know, the key, one of the biggest keys to a buzz bait is putting that bait where no one else can put a bait. And also, a lot of fish that are shallow fish, they're tucked up in like anything that's providing a skosh of shade or a skosh of an overhead comfort zone. You know, we have live bait here at the shop, and there's 4 bins in each tank. And if you take the board that you put the bucket on and, you know, come back in later, all the bait in that tank is centered under that board. And if you take that board and move it to the left side of that bin and come back in later, they're all on the left side of that bin. That overhead protection is a natural thing with fish. And the ability to put your bait there, so that buzz bait comes skipping in, and then you immediately start buzzing it out. So you have to really get coordinated with your casting and your retrieve.
Yeah. And I think,
be ready.
Yeah.
Because it goes down quick.
And the other thing is speed, George. Speed of your retrieve.
Generally speaking, if I was going to, and again, I want to keep this like simple. I am almost always fishing it as slow as I can.
Yeah.
Not always, but almost always.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you got to mess with that. I think you got to mess with the speed, you know, what's changing the sound of the blade and slap of the water. And we're getting some rain out here finally. The rivers, I hope the God goes up because we're dragging our boats around. And, you know, that sound, you know, that higher pitch thing. George does something pretty cool with the blades for slowing down even more. And when you really want to slow them down, he'll take the blades and curl them up a little bit.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
That's a secret.
Yeah, he'll take the blades and, you know, that are a little bit flatter, and they'll just curl them up like that, so it really digs the water and you can really slow down. It jumps up there, it hangs in that water column. You can slow down real slow and still have a real good sound to it, just by bending and curling the blade. The flatter the blade, the faster the retrieve. The more the curl the blade, the slower the retrieve. So that's something you can mess with the blade configuration. I do it a lot. I'll just bend them a little bit here and there, you know, just kind of see what.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
All the little intricacies of the bait.
Yeah. I remember I don't remember who it was that was telling us about that, but I remember the exact time and place I was when this man was telling us about curling them blades over and flattening them out and what that does. This was 40 years ago. And George and I both were talking to him, and I just can't remember who it was, but he started bending these blades, and he's like, try it.
Well, that's a good point.
It was like this
epiphany.
Oh, this epiphany goes like, holy crap.
It works great.
He says, when you fold them out, you know, you can that's for zipping, man. It gives you the same sound. It gives you that different sound. It's for zipping along. And then when you curl them up, man, you can just slow that thing down and really.
That's actually mind blowing, because sometimes fish have a large strike zone.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, you got to keep that bait in there for a long time.
Exactly.
That's a good point you guys.
Yeah, that's really a cool little thing. So bending the blade, messing around with that's next level shit right there.
Well, I'll tell you another problem, a negative to buzzbait fishing, is when you actually catch fish, you almost always have to retune your buzzbait.
Yeah.
They have a way of pretty much ruining the party. you know that person that comes to your party,
Oh, yeah.
you know, gets there half banged up, and it just never goes well from there. So what I want you to do is I want you to sight down this hook right here. All right. You guys see that? See the hook? So here's the hook. Now, when you're looking at it, I want you to line the hook up with the wire coming out of the head. So make sure everything's in line from here to here. And what's generally bent is this has generally got a bow in it, and this is generally kicked off one way or the other. And now you have a straight edge as your guide, and you can put your fingers on opposite side of that wire and tweak that. And then you can grab this and either take it left or right until everything's back in alignment. Whole procedure, seconds. This one came out of the box. It's not quite suiting me. Now it is.
And George, with that great tip that you just gave, though, somebody did put a question on there about trekking. Like, do you want it to trek straight? You know, or if it's not trekking straight, you just showed how to fix it.
Yeah, well, that'll cure it most of the time. Sometimes if you're fishing a skirt, sometimes, you know, these things are put on by hand. So sometimes when they put them on, that skirt might be all clumped up on one side. That's pretty obvious. Now, like the Megabass and whatnot, they're hand tied, so they're pretty well even. But you might get one that's clumped up on one side. So just take some time and kind of spread the skirt around even, then check your alignment. Now, you may want it to run off.
Exactly.
So that you can cast down a line of docks and have the bait track left or right to bang each piling. And that is...
Bulkhead walls are really good for that, too.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, that's a little more tricky, but it doesn't take much. You just bend the blade out. It tracks one way. You bend it the other way. It tracks the other way.
Big thing for dock fishing and like tidal waters, when you're fishing tidal water and whatnot, you can bank, you know, especially bulkhead walls, when you want it to run real close to a bulkhead wall. I
mean, you can do that. I personally don't. I want mine to run straight, but you can do that.
Yeah.
And if you're that guy, I commend you, because that's a lot of bending. Because you get the sumbitch running this way, and then you get the other side of the dock. You're like, oh, hell.
No. You have another rod there with the left-handed wind shifter on one, and you got the right-handed wind shifter on the other, and you're ready to roll.
And I applaud you for that too.
You know, I don't do it, but I'm just saying that's what I would do.
I got no problem with any of it.
What about a little undercut on a bulkhead wall, and you want it to dip underneath there and get back up underneath? That's, I mean, there's something to that.
It absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So keep in mind, September plus buzzbait plus shallow water plus banging into cover plus shade lines equals fat sacks.
Yeah. Iron Outdoorsman. Yeah. I don't know. It's coming on, buddy. We're going to end strong on the buzzbait. I'm telling you.
That's a fact. We're
going to end super strong on it. Matter of fact, Sunday when we go out, George and I, we're breaking out the secret weapons buzzbaits, and we're gonna tear them up.
We're gonna foam the water.
We're gonna foam it up.
All right, guys. And our combination hybrid tackle talk / technique talk.
Yeah.
I want to take you to the next game.
Are you jumping over into the tackle talk now?
No, I've been in tackle talk.
Oh.
So here's the concept of a hybrid. So a hybrid is you blend.
Yeah. Well, we
took tackle talk.
We've been talking about buzzbaits, so now we're
because part of our technique is buzzbait and plopper time.
Okay.
Buzzbait and plopper time. Like peanut butter jelly time, it's buzzbait and plopper time.
Okay.
So we're mixing the buzzbait and the plopper into the talk, and, you know, it's kind of...
New tackle talk.
In other words, don't hang the phone up. Keep watching to the end.
Because, Mike, we started with the Megabass.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Yeah. I don't care where he goes.
Now we got everybody dialed in. I got some more awesome Megabass products for you, and I don't know if we're going to go real deep on these, but we're gonna have some fun, and you guys are going to love this. So you've heard about this bait called the Karashi, or haven't you? Well, let me tell you, if you haven't heard about the Karashi,
here we go.
I don't know where you've been or what you've been doing, but you need to come home. Okay. We're looking for you, and we're worried about you. This is a brother check, because apparently you've been struggling, and that's fine, because, you know, we're here for you. But now we have, and I don't want you to get confused, but now we have the Karashi spinner. And I'm going to sacrifice one.
No, I
here.
got one open.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one there.
Ah, perfect. Mike opened one up. That means Mike bought it.
Now, if you're careful, that's the one I opened because that's the one I would take.
Okay.
Right.
Good play.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't see this going back into circulation.
No, I don't either. I really don't.
So, essentially, we have a modified Karashi. We are 2 3/4 of an inch long here, boys. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the Karashi essentially is a slow sinking subsurface walk bait. Okay? Quote unquote BFS before BFS was cool. And catches big fish. So now the spinner, couple things. You have one size bigger hook. So you went from a 10 to an 8. Okay? And then you have a prop tail. So if you guys are familiar with the concept of eye motion, it came out a long time ago. Jackal proposed it with a soft plastic jig head bait that you essentially reeled through the water that looked like you were reeling in a number 2 pencil. Very subtle, very neutral, very effective on pressured negative fish. A trick in your bag when you just can't catch fish. It's one of them days. So this is essentially going to have that eye motion, that subtle motion with the prop blade. So this is essentially a hybrid of like a spy bait and like an eye motion bait and a finesse type bait. This is coming in on the scales at just under a quarter. So technically, I'm going to call this a BFS bait that you should be able to throw on a medium powered rod. Light line, 8-pound test.
That's going to be the key with it is light line, I think.
Finesse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finesse.
This color right here is bad to the frickin' bone, man. This color is called Bonabori Pro Blue. It's a matte CS for chartreuse spot. I mean, it's just like, come on.
I busted that out for you, Nick. That's your favorite color. Matte shaddish kind of look.
It's got this little cup underneath here to help it just track. You can actually increase the speed, bring it up, break the surface, and let it come back down again. I mean, you can be very creative with this bait. All kinds of colors. I mean, just tons of colors. Here's Visible Shadow, which is a dark color with a pink spot on the back. And here is, and I think there's like 12 colors.
There's a lot of them.
Here's Fine Art Series, Ghost Wagasaki. This will probably be one of the top selling colors on the line. Wagasaki always has that little purple on the tail. So again, it's called the Karashi Spinner. It's $18.99. It's based on, the theory of a spy bait type, eye bait, eye motion type bait. 2 3/4 of an inch, just under a quarter. So it's between 3/16 and a quarter. Okay. So that's good stuff. We've been really excited about these ever since the pre-order came in, and it's, in this part of the world, this time of the year, we're getting the spy bait time of the year. Clear water, low water, lots of bait fish, multiple spawns, multiple sizes of shad, multiple sizes of different minnow, schooling fish. And guess what?
Yeah.
You
Changing
put a
conditions.
spy bait type bait through a school when you first get to them, and then when you are done with them, as you go through your rotation from most aggressive to least aggressive, First start with a spy bait type bait, then go through your progression once you get them fired up, and then end. And then come back later.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys said that. That bait, that size this weekend when we were fishing, that's the size bait fish they were spitting out. It's like that's the
meant
deal.
to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's September, Mike.
Well, that's
Hard to solve.
And that's what I'm saying. It's a very complex time of the year. And this is why these baits really excelled and why we sell so many of them. We sell an absolute truckload of these types of super ultra finesse
Spy bait.
A truckload of them.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? It's for September. It's for that clear water, that pressure, that screwed up fish that just doesn't know what he wants to do. He's tracking bait fish. He's tracking all kinds of bait. He's getting casted at with all kinds of stuff. And this thing just comes cruising along in there and it's catching friggin' fish, and it catches big ones.
You know where else this bait shines? On the northern swing.
Mm-hmm.
You get them spawn to post spawn smallies up north. Ooh, daddy. But the next bait shines even more up north.
Yeah.
And this one, guys, is called the level swimmer. Another Megabass launch. I mean, we got hit with so many launches from Megabass this week. We had to do some reorganizing.
Yeah.
We had to reorganize the whole
entire
store.
walls.
Check this out. The Megabass level swimmer. Okay. We're going to get one out here.
I got one out.
Calm down, fella. I already know your tricks.
Look what color that is.
Wagasaki. Now, this is a different game here. Okay. So now I want you to think about your traditional spy bait. Think about your Duo Realis. Spin bait 80. Okay. But make it as heavy as a spin bait 90. Think about your Spro spin bait. John Cruz signature. Now we have, let me get my notes here. 2 3/4 inch.
The weight's incredible.
1/2 ounce.
Incredible.
Okay? So we're putting this bad boy into next week.
Yeah.
We're going to throw this like Jalen Hurts is on 3rd and 4 and scrambling at his own 10, right? And he sees a window. And with that arm, he can put that ball downfield a good 80 yards.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, you may want to argue that fact, but you're going to lose. And bingo, touchdown. Well, that's what you can do with this bad boy right here.
Yep.
Now, these blades, check this out. Now, focus up. Focus up. These blades are counter-rotating. Okay? So we have clockwise and counterclockwise, allowing us to keep this bait up at a slower speed. And obviously some good vibration, or an oversized blade compared to most spy baits. Again, very subtle.
Sweet, man.
Very, very effective.
Absolute sweet bait.
This is that Wagasaki fine art Wagasaki color with the purple tail. And this bad boy's got them all, man. It's got, look at this. GLX frozen pink. Forget about it. Hayu. Give me a break. Look at this one. Golden Ghost Shiner. This one's a hot one here. We got limited on this one. I was a little pissed about that. And on and on and on. There's a whole bunch of colors of those. And they're also $18.99. So we have 2 Megabass spy bait style baits for you. The Karashi spinner being more subtle.
Yeah.
And then the level swimmer being, a little bit more traditional.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Next up is the Megabass. I know, it's a heavy Megabass night. Gabarian or Gabaron or Gabarin.
It's funny because I had to shoot some videos on this for some other social media stuff that we're doing. And I kept asking George, what's the name? Is it Gabarin or Gabarin? He said, yeah. I said 3 different things. He said, yeah, that's it.
Well, it's either Gabarin.
I think it's Gabarin, yeah.
Or it could be Gabarin, or it could be Gabarin.
Gabarin.
I think it's Gabarin.
Could be Gabarin.
I'm going with Gabarin.
I think I was saying Gabarin when I was.
Well, there's two
with
sizes.
it.
Here's what's interesting. There's a Gabarin and a Gabarin Jr.
What? This thing is
Gabarin.
Yeah.
Gabarin Jr.
Awesome.
They're both half ounce.
That's the cool thing about it.
Okay. They're both listed as
one's 2.5 and one's 2.
Yeah. 2 inch, 2.5. Both listed at half. This one's a little more narrow. So this is the Gabarin.
Yeah.
And then this one, and what I like about it is this tail segment is like a little protrusion off the back. So it's totally clear of the hooks.
Yeah.
And then we have obviously a nice soft body, well-protected hooks. We've got the popper style mouth. These baits walk effortlessly.
Yeah.
They have a keel belly.
Yeah.
They walk effortlessly. They are $15.99 also. And they are available in 6 or 7 really good colors. Obviously, white, black. The white is called a white peach. There's a white python. There's a black mamba. There's a chartreuse head. There's a dew chartreuse, and so on and so forth. You can check them out at sfttackle.com. Or if you really want to have a good time, come on in tomorrow to the store, and me and Mike are going to be here along with Terry, and we are going to be speaking the word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This one more thing on that frog. It is a 2.5 and a 2 inch. So this is that frog that
feels great, Mike.
That I know it, and you can follow
half ounce.
Follow up a guy who's throwing a regular traditional frog, and this thing's going to do something totally different. We've proven it over and over on the small frogs how it just catches different fish behind people. So this honestly is going to sell like wildfire. It is absolutely going to sell like wildfire. It's going to catch fish like wildfire. I'm so excited about it.
It's good stuff. And what I like about it is I think the first limit I catch on Sunday is going to be on that frog. Then I'm going to go to the buzzbait.
Okay.
I'm going to put the show on my ear pads, my ear pads, or whatever they're called, ear dingers, and I'm going to listen to it and do some buzzbait work.
George, I got to say, so we go to ICAST, right? And every year it seems like we're talking about Z-Man. But this year, Megabass wasn't at ICAST.
They're not allowed to go.
They're not allowed to go.
Nope.
Okay. They just knock it out of the park, too. Every time.
Yeah. So Megabass has made some slight changes to their manufacturing base in somewhat in response to tariffs. But they're also on a pace to launch every so many weeks. So the next 2 products coming up are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But I digress. So Megabass is hot.
Yeah.
And everything, just it's the quality. And you know what it is? As we said earlier, their pro staff is international. They have pro staff that fishes for nothing but snakeheads. They have pro staff that fishes for bass on every country that has them. They have like super talented people in their design department, and they're focused to like these crazy details. And you know what?
Well,
sometimes the details matter.
Yeah. Touchdown.
CD Lamb, that's not a touchdown.
Oh.
Yeah, but there's other bad news, George. Jalen Carter already got ejected from the game.
Godhead.
So
I was talking to him in the offseason.
My thing,
it didn't work.
My thing is the Megabass brand boils down to this: it catches friggin' fish. I mean, of course, their big flagship is the Vision 110, which we've caught thousands of fish on. The Vision 110.
Watch them numbers, fella.
Vision 110 Junior. What, you don't think we caught thousands of fish on? I'm just
saying. Yeah, I didn't see a clicker.
Huh?
I'll get you one if you want one.
I mean, come on. Over the years,
I have clickers. Okay,
I said thousands. So
I'm with you.
I wasn't in the
I'm with you.
tens of thousands.
If you'd like, I'll get you a clicker.
Well, and if it's proven stuff, and the technology is proven, and the Ito manufacturing is no joke. Ito manufacturing is quality, 100% quality, 100%. All about the performance of the bait. So that's what it's really all about, and that's why we keep expanding in it, because it catches fish.
Guys, we were going to talk about the plopper tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have enough time to do it, but I say we jump in.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the plopper relates to a lot of the buzzbait.
It does.
Now, I mean, you can't really skip a plopper.
No.
But if you have good casting accuracy, you can put it relatively in the same places.
The plopper to me is the bank burner, the bait that you can go down a rocky bank, just a bank and just cover a ton of water, shade banks, and just fire it out there.
Bulkheads,
flats, running across rocky points, all that kind of stuff. And it's basically a buzzbait. It really is. It's basically a buzzbait style bait. It's more of a plopper, a different sound, and it has a different body on the front, but it basically does the same thing. It's calling fish up from the depth below and bringing them up. And
what I like about it,
so effective. It's been effective for how many years are we on this thing, George?
I have no idea.
It's crazy.
What I like about it is in September, when you got to get up dirt, shallow, and buzz and plop, it's almost like it was built for this.
Yeah.
It does everything else well, but it's built for this. I fished a plopper on the exact same gear that I fished a buzzbait on.
Yeah.
For the most part, I like a 110. I do throw the 90 a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we throw
90's a little smaller. Throw the 90 a lot, but I love a 110. This is very subtle. The 90 is very subtle. If you're not a big plopper fan, they're all kind of quiet, intentionally speaking. But this is pretty subtle right here. Now,
a lot less in the September months as the 90.
Yeah, the more the 110.
Yeah, absolutely. The 110 is a lot more popular in our the early fall and late fall, to the point where we go to the 130. But the 90 in the spring, post spawn, and through the summer, tremendous, absolutely tremendous.
Now, here's what I like to do, and I love river to sea quality. I love their baits. I don't like these hooks. The plopper hooks, I'm just talking about me. So what I'm going to do here on this 110 is I'm going to show you what I do here. Okay? Now I got some stuff piled up here. So I got to make a quick maneuver here. If y'all got a minute, bear with me. Because I make some serious changes to my plopper immediately. Now, on the 110, I use a number 2 Gamakatsu feathered treble on the back. Number 2 Gamakatsu feather. Now, you can buy this in the regular feathered treble, the 216. You can also buy this in the G Finesse, medium heavy G Finesse hook, which is the 347. To each their own. On a topwater like this, I'm inclined to go with the standard hook because it's plenty heavy enough for, anything. And what I do is I use my pliers, my my Texas tackle pliers. I start this hook off, and just to save time and energy, while this one's coming off, this one's going on. That way I only have to do the split ring once. Just take your time. These hooks are sharp. And sometimes they use a heavy split ring here. Sometimes I'll reach in behind there and use my plier to kind of grab the split ring and turn it. And that, look at that. And I just make sure that other hook's on. A little lighter wire. That feather on the back of a plopper is oh so good. I very rarely will fish a plopper without that feather on the back. It's probably up here, but I'm feeling big time success with that. And then I also change out the front hook to the same style of Gamakatsu. I'm a round bend guy. Pick any hook you want. Pick any brand you want. And I put a number 2 up front. And now that plopper is 100% ready to fish. Tie it on your same rod as your buzzbait and go to work.
What a great bait, though, Nick. Pick it up, throw it out, and reel it back.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I'll reel it a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll reel it a little slower.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
But I will tell you this, with the Whopper Plopper, and for you people who don't fish it or who never fished it, which really shouldn't be that many, this is where when it hits the water, the high rod thing is very, very important. If you leave the rod close to the water, you will twist your line up beyond anything you can possibly imagine in forecasts.
That's a great point. And also, to Mike's point, this time of the year in many bodies of water, there's a lot of floating grass. There's about to be a lot of leaves. If that prop entangles in a grass or a leaf that you don't see, what'll happen is the prop will stop and the body will rotate.
Yeah, and you got to watch that.
To Mike's point,
if
you're not fishing braid,
it's critical.
You're going to think somebody.
Well, not only that, George, but it's critical to know what's going on with your bait at all times, because that thing will twist your line up terrible. But so when I make a cast, it hits the water, I hold the rod up high, like George said, with the buzz bait, and I get it going, and I hold it up, and then I just slowly rotate the rod down as it gets closer to the boat. And you got to keep an eye. If it does get grass on it, you'll feel it right away. Either rip it real hard and continue your cast, or just get it back in right away, because it's going to mess your whole thing up, because the twists are real, my friend. So that's what we recommend with those. Now, the 90 and the 110, I really like the 90 as a follow-up bait, or if I'm around smaller bait, I'll pick it up and throw it out there. But once the mid-September comes into the late September, it's all 110. We're just hardcore 110 in it all the way through.
90s are really nice all-around bait. Great smallmouth river fishing.
Yeah.
But do not ever overlook that 110.
Yeah, that 110.
There is actually a 60, which refers to the length, 60 millimeters, deeper body, a 75, deeper body, a 90, which is probably the number 1 of all ploppers.
That's the number 1.
Then there's a 110, and then there's a 130, which I don't think we have a 130.
I didn't bring a 130.
130.
Do we? Oh, yeah, we do have one.
So here's a 110. Here's a 130. I remember one time we had Ish in the shop talking about the plopper, because he's a big river to sea pro staffer. He said all I fish with is 130s. So I've caught some big fish on it. In the early days of Whopper Plopper, but this 110 has filled a void for me.
Hey, Mercer, I got him. I got that son of a gun for you.
All right. We're getting a little skinny on time. I'm going to save a couple of our items for next week. So next week we're going to talk. I have two other items. I have a rod and a plastic bait that I want to talk about. We're going to save that for next week. And we're going to roll into the rig of the week. 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 This is your rig of the week. And this week, we're doing the stupid tube. Bring her in, Nick. Bring her in, baby. Take it easy on that diagonal. Get your shit together, son. The finished product. The stupid tube, which is really handy because it's snag free because we have it text posed. It skips like a dream. So for fishing docks up underneath like gnarly overhangs, it skips great. It's got a wide gap hook, good hookup. The lead is back up inside the tube a little bit, so you get that spiral, that wander. But it takes a couple of like minutes of practice to rig it. And, you know, it's not hard to rig, but you have to be willing to perhaps not get it right on your first a couple attempts. And don't get so crazy. So this is a Mismo Big Boy tube, which is a standard 4-inch tube. This is a Big Bite Bait tube head, which is a wide gap tube head. Can we focus on that?
Touchdown.
See that wide gap? Very important. You cannot do a stupid tube without a wide gap. Okay, so we would call this an EWG, extra wide gap. 60-degree eye. I wouldn't say that's necessary, but it's ideal for a stupid tube. And a tube-style head. Makes it easier, okay? So you're going to do this backwards. Normally, you would take your jig head and insert it in the tube. You're going to put the point in first. So what you need to do is kind of, and this is how, if you've never done this before, this is your cheat. This is your rigging cheat. Kind of put that together like it's going to end up. All right, so we're going to end up like that. The eye's going to come out here, not up here. It's going to come out there. It's going to end up this, picture this inside. So we want our hook point to come out here. So we want our hook point to come out at the back of our lead. Okay? So kind of eyeball that, and I take my fingers and I pinch that. And then I take my hook, and I take my time, and I bring my hook inside the tube. And you see how the tube just curls around the hook? See that? Now, this isn't the most graceful thing in the world, but if you take your time, this works out. And then we're going to come through here. And you got to kind of, this is where you got to have a little bit of flexibility with the system.
Finesse.
So you're going to kind of turn this around without tearing your tube all to hell. Turn it around however you can. Oh, there you go. 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 Okay. And then there we go. This is a, and if you want to learn it, don't use a 1/4 ounce head. All right, now step 2. See our jig head's right here. Okay. There's that 60-degree eye. Pretty normal if you just would have pushed the tube in. But now what we want to do is we want to end up like this. And you can see real easy where you want your hook to come in. You want your hook to come in back here. Now, I like to come back a little farther. Normally, I'd measure that and go straight through, but you'll see that angle is going to put that hook point facing up a little bit. So if I give it a little more material, come back a little farther than normal, and come straight through the bottom and straight out the top, now you can see that extra material is kind of kicked off there. Now I'm going to push that extra material down. And now we have a properly rigged stupid tube. And what's going to happen here is, like most tubes that have a jig head inside of them, you get kind of, you don't really get a straight downfall. You get kind of a spiraling, wandering bait. You get something that skips like, I mean, nothing skips better than that. So now you can skip up underneath docks. You can really develop your skipping game, the motion, the success ratio.
Not only that, but for river fishing, it doesn't hang up near as much.
Doesn't hang up in the wood either.
Yeah, you can put it in the wood.
It's very good in the wood.
Fish it in the grass.
It's a wide gap.
Wide gap for great hook sets.
So we get a good hook set that points right there.
Yeah.
Now you will go through some more tubes. Generally, every time you catch a fish, you pretty much blow the tube out.
Yeah.
Maybe every 2 fish.
Yep.
But that's okay. You're catching fish.
It's a great story behind that rig.
I really like it for like multiple covers. So if I'm fishing rock/wood, I really like it in still water. Although it works well in current, I like our weedless head better in current. But this is a valuable addition to your tube arsenal, which, by the way, catches the heck out of them.
It really does.
Okay. So the stupid tube, yeah, you can do a 3.5 inch. Does not work really well unless you have like custom heads. It does not work really well on a small tube, but a 3.5, 4 inch tube, it's money. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Good
Guys,
job,
have you
George.
ever fished a stupid tube much?
I
don't fish it a lot.
I have not.
I've never fished it.
Me either.
Never
I
in
don't
my
fish
life.
it a lot. I when it first came out, there was a Federation angler in the Classic who was fishing an outflow. And I mean, this guy was putting the heat the first 2 days on the Classic. I think they cut his outflow back on the 3rd day. It was coming out of a power plant. It was a pipe dumping down a riprap, and he was whacking them on this freaking stupid tube. And everybody's like, stupid tube, stupid tube, stupid tube. So immediately I'm like, I have to learn this. And I didn't pick up on the wide gap thing right away. So the struggle was real. But
right.
once I was educated,
Mm-hmm.
so I always have, if you look in our jig head box that Mike and I carry in both of our boats, there's always like a handful of wide gap tube heads. We like the big bites. They're the perfect head. You can see they'll do a 3.5 or a 4 inch tube, no problem.
Should do it a lot more. We should fish out a lot more in some different covers because it's a great rig. It really is a great rig. And those guys that fish it, it's a great story behind it. The guy who figured it out, I think it was in Missouri or something like that. Those guys were winning every they were Federation guys. They were winning every single tournament, everything. And they kept it secret for a lot of years. And then
Makes sense.
And then it got out. It somehow got out. It might have got out in that Classic somehow. And it just kind of,
that didn't just get out in that Classic. ESPN had that sucker on front and center live.
Yeah. So
there you go. So here we have valuable input.
Yeah.
From Mike Dove.
Yeah.
Who's a stupid tube guy. And he's caught thousands on the stupid tube from Florida and Minnesota. And
yes,
he named the angler Terry McWilliams.
There you go. Exactly.
That Mike is a blast from the past. That's the kind of stuff we really like to hear.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how I found out about the stupid tube.
Yeah.
And then being
They were pissed
Psycho
about.
Bassin.
They were pissed about it. The guys who fished it, they had it secret. They were pissed.
They're always pissed. Look,
It was
Mike.
it was a
Mike
great
said
story.
they finished 4th.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah.
finished 4th in the Classic.
Wow.
I remember. I mean, I was like, being a Federation guy, I'm like, my man needs to win this thing, man.
Yeah.
We need Brian Kerschel 2.0.
Right on.
Yeah, so here we go. Jason Roeder. I always rig the stupid tube unless I'm free rigging or Carolina rigging. Jacob Wheeler's mentor. So Terry McWilliams was Jacob Wheeler's mentor. I mean, it's amazing how that you can connect the dots.
Yeah.
So Terry McWilliams from Indiana. If I scroll up here, scroll me up there, scroll me up. Is he from? Did he say he was from Indiana? Nope, the scroll's not working.
Stupid tube.
Indiana. Jacob Wheeler, Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
So connect the dots.
Yep.
I'll bet you Jacob Wheeler knows how to fish a stupid tube.
Yeah.
So
Hell
that's
yeah,
your
he
rig
does.
of the week. Get yourself a pack. You already got tubes. Get yourself a pack of wide gap tube heads. Practice rigging the stupid tube. I think we put a video out on it years ago. I'm sure there's multiple videos out on it. You can just rewatch the show here. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. I mean, I'll do another one for you here real quick because it is the rig of the week, and we are celebrating rig of the week, although we haven't recorded the song yet. Mike's working on that. He's got a couple bands trying out. Metallica's up next.
You gonna rig it again?
Yeah, doing another one. So, key message. Visualize your tube head. Figure out where you want the hook eye to come out. So the tube head's going to bottom out right here. Okay? Hook eye is going to come out right here. So back here is where you want your hook to come through. Now I'm doing it backwards than what I normally do. So here you go. I want my hook point to come out back here. And then remember the secret here. The secret is when you rig this thing up, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Start off with a smaller tube head. There you go. Just kind of finesse it, okay? Don't get crazy. Now you see the eye. Punch the eye out. Okay, now there we are. We're home. And then what I like to do, normally I'll go right through right there. Right where that hook wants to go through. But I'm telling you, if you go back a little bit, in other words, it's almost going to make the tube bow. Make sure you're in line. Go back a little bit farther. And you can see how that tube's got like there's too much product in there. That's good because now we're going to take that bend out of it by taking that extra product and stretching it forward. And we end up with a perfectly rigged stupid tube.
There you go.
Rig of the week, baby.
Rig of the week.
Rig of the week.
All right. There you have it. Rig of the week. We got it in. We're well over the time period that we wanted to do. But you're getting it. We got it on the big screen over there. We were watching the game over there on the big screen, so that's not too bad.
7-7.
No need to fish anything heavier than a 3/16 or an 1/8, 3/0 or 4/0 EWG Mike Dove.
Totally agree with Mike Dove.
And I think
1/8 is money.
yeah. It's all in the fall and how it gets down
If you think about the stupid tube, you're not fishing it deep.
yeah.
So if you're out on Lake Erie or Lake Ontario and you want to fish a tube deep, you want an exposed hook.
Yeah.
With a heavier head.
Yeah.
If you're doing it to like skip shallows, and again, September, what are we doing in September, boys?
Yeah.
We're shallow, right?
Good and weedless,
and
you
get a
and
follow
the trees
up.
and all
You
that
need
kind
to
of
follow
stuff.
up on a missed strike. skip your stupid tube in there.
That's what's great about this show. We get all kinds of people chiming in and giving some information. That's some great information. And it was just a great,
really good,
really good segment there with that. And Mike, we appreciate you, brother, very much with that information.
That was great.
Okay. Well, we're going to cut her short here. Short. I said at 8:30. At 8:30, we're supposed to cut her short, but listen, we'll be back at you next week on Thursday, as always, at 7:00.
We're going to hit you with them last 2 baits from Tackle Talk that we didn't get to.
Yep.
Surprise baits for next week.
Surprise baits. And check out the website. Check out the baits. All on there, beautifully laid out for you. And you can see the colors and really get an understanding of what we were talking about. Hey, we appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next Tackle Shop Live.
Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up.
Happy birthday, Nick, from David Shadowmeyer.
You came over and you fell into my arms.
See you, John Warwick.
Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real.